Once upon a time.
Il était une fois.
Long, long ago.
In a galaxy not so far away.
There was, and there was not, a boy, a girl.
A prince and a king.
A poor man. A rich man.
Come on, get on with it!
What happens next?
The human race loves stories. Always has, probably always will. We can't get enough of them. Most of the stories we hear these days are written by someone, but not so long ago, stories were told rather than written, listened to rather than read. Stories were passed on from storyteller to storyteller, and they never sounded the same twice. This is the story of a story.
Hello, boys and girls. I'm Buttons, and this is...
Oh, no, she's not!
These are our sisters.
One day I shall be a queen.
And so shall I.
Why?
Because we're going to the ball and you're not.
Oh, yes, she is.
Oh, no, she's not.
Oh, yes, she is.
Oh, no, she's not.
Cinderella, one of the world's best-known stories. The ugly sisters, the wicked stepmother, the fairy godmother, Prince Charming, the glass slipper.
Oh, no!
It's just a fairy tale.
That's for kids.
Tell us a proper story.
It is a proper story. One of the world's best. There are hundreds and hundreds of versions all over the globe.
Ye Tien.
La Gatta Cenerentola.
Ration Coaty.
The Way Meat Loves Salt.
The maiden and the frog and the chief's son.
Cendrillon, the Caribbean Cinderella.
Beauty and Pockface.
Cindy Ellen.
Look at the state you're in. You're a disgrace.
She's all covered in cinders.
We should call her Cinder Girl.
Cinderella, that's what we'll call you.
Cinderella, that's good.
So where does the story of Cinderella come from? Who made it up? When was it first told? The version we know best in Europe was written down from a French folktale by Charles Perrault. He wrote the Mother Goose Tales in the 1760s to amuse the royal French court of Louis XV. Perrault's version changed the tale to suit his courtly audience. He allowed his writer's imagination to run riot with the basic materials of the story. It was his idea to introduce...
A pumpkin turned into a beautiful gilded carriage.
Oh, a pumpkin.
Wonderful.
A fat rat turned into a jolly coachman.
A fat rat.
How amusing!
A pair of glass slippers, the prettiest in the world.
Slippers made of glass. So poetic.
It was the source for Walt Disney's Cinderella. And whenever we hear of coaches from pumpkins and footmen from lizards, we know that Monsieur Perrault is behind it all. This is a Caribbean Cinderella.
Two! 6 agoutis in a cage become 6 splendid carriage horses. Two! 5 brown lizards become 5 tall footmen. Two! Coachmen.
And this is from the Wild West.
Cindy was a pretty good cowgirl, too.
Yeah!
Go get it, Cindy!
But behind the pantomime and these sugar-sweet tales lies a much more powerful and disturbing story, the old folk tale of the girl in the ashes, a story of injustice and hope, A family torn apart by jealousy and cruelty, passion and betrayal.
Well, that sounds more like it.
Bit of sex and violence.
What happens next? Which version do you want to hear? There are so many. In the Egyptian story, The Princess in the Suit of Leather, the king will only marry the woman whose feet fit an anklet worn by his dead wife. This turns out to be his own daughter.
We have visited every maiden in your kingdom, but none was able to squeeze her foot into the late queen's anklet. None, that is, except the princess, your daughter. She wears it as easily as if it were her own.
Why not marry the princess? Why give her to a stranger and deprive yourself?
The words were hardly spoken when the king summoned the Qadi to pen the papers for the marriage.
To the princess, he made no mention of his plan.
Mon Dieu!
His own daughter?
In the Armenian Cinderella, the two older sisters agreed to eat their own mother.
When the older girls were away, the mother took her youngest child aside and said,
"Don't cry, my child. They will kill me. Nothing can be done."
And so it happened. The cruel sisters killed their mother and sat down to eat her. Come, eat.
The two sisters urged, but the youngest girl refused.
"I will not eat my mother's flesh!"
I dislike idle girls. We'll have to find you something to do.
The hundreds of versions of Cinderella across the world fall into two main groups. In the first group, our hero's real mother dies, and her world is torn apart by a cruel stepmother.
There was a cave chieftain called Wu. He married 2 wives. One wife died.
There was once a man who had 2 wives. Each had a daughter. The day came when the wife he disliked fell ill and died.
The father, however, shortly remarried, and his wife was an evil, malicious, bad-tempered woman who began at once to hate her stepdaughter, and threw sour looks, wry faces, and scowling glances on her, enough to make her jump with fright.
How much do you love me, Cinderella?
I do not love you, father, any more or any less than an honest daughter should.
Then you shall have no present.
I mean no insult, I simply...
Get out of my sight!
In the second main group of Cinderella stories, the father is the cause of the hero's misery. Like Shakespeare's King Lear, this vain man asks his 3 daughters how much they love him. The eldest 2 give answers that please him, but the youngest...
I love you more than gold and silver. I love you more than rubies and pearls.
Lorelei, my youngest child, my precious one. How much do you love me?
Father, I love you the way meat loves salt.
The rabbi was horrified.
What? You love me no more than salt? Go! Leave this house!
The girl wandered away, on and on, weeping and lamenting, till she came to the marshes. There she gathered a heap of rushes. She wove them into a sort of cloak with a hood, which covered her from head to foot and hid her fine dress. Then she went on until she came to a great house.
Do you want a maid?
Said she.
The story of Cinderella starts with a family's dramatic change of fortune. As listeners, we are hooked right from the beginning.
Go on.
Don't stop. What happens next?
Things get worse.
Things get worse. Cinderella has to perform harsh, often impossible tasks.
You can go when you have separated the sesame seeds from the beans.
Then she had the tour to pound, and then to stir. And they wouldn't even let her eat the tour. All they gave her to eat was the burnt bits at the bottom of the pot.
Her stepmother always made her collect firewood in dangerous places and draw water from deep pools.
She fell from the salon to the kitchen, from the canopy to the grate, from splendid silks and gold to dishcloths, from sceptres to spits.
That's not fair.
Shame.
I am your mother now.
You are coarse and greedy. You could never be as beautiful as her.
The Cinderella in Perrault's story and Walt Disney is weak and wishy-washy, the original dumb blonde.
She was gentle and sweet-natured, taking after her mother, who was the best person in the world. The poor girl suffered it all, patiently, and didn't dare complain to her father.
In other stories, Cinderella is far more active.
Beauty was so cross that she smashed everything in the house.
Or tackles her situation resourcefully.
Then, knowing only that she must escape, she ran onto the terrace and leaped over the palace walls, landing in a tanner's yard which lay below. She pressed a handful of gold into the tanner's palm and said,
Can you make me a suit of leather to hide me from head to heel, showing nothing but my eyes? I want it by tomorrow dawn.
Before I will fulfill your wish, I must have 3 dresses. One as golden as the sun, one as silvery as the moon, and one as bright as the stars.
Time and again, the soldier would stumble upon the princess lying at the gate and ask,
Have you seen the king's daughter?
And she would reply,
My name is Juleda for my coat of skins. My eyes are weak, my sight is dim.
So there can be more to Cinderella than Perrault's sugar and spice, although few of the stories go as far as the cat Cinderella, who teams up with her governess to murder her stepmother.
When your father leaves the house, tell your stepmother that you would like one of those old dresses that are kept in the big chest in the closet, to save the one you now have on. As she always wants to see you in rags and tatters, she will open the chest and say, Hold the lid.
Hold the lid.
You must hold it while she is rummaging inside, and then suddenly let it fall so that it breaks her neck.
Yeah! Go for it, Cinders!
One of the key figures in the story is the fairy godmother. In both Perrault and Disney's Cinderella, the fairy godmother arrives from nowhere, a super-gran with magic powers.
I want...
She cried so hard she couldn't finish. Her godmother, who was a fairy, said,
"You want to go to the ball. Isn't that it?"
Yes,
sighed Cinderella.
Who are you?
Gasped Cindy Ellen.
Say hello, your fairy godmother, Sugarfoot.
She twirled the pistol, slapped it back into its holster, and took a good hard look at Cindy.
Oh, what's the matter, honey? You're as down and as dirty as a flop-haired hound dog. Stand up straight. Dust yourself off.
I want to go to the rodeo,
sobbed Cindy Ellen.
Can you help?
In older versions of the story, the fairy godmother becomes something far stranger. The magical powers that Cinderella needs to go to the ball come in the shape of friendly but powerful animal spirits who help her. In the story of Ye Tian, it is a huge fish.
She once got a fish about 2 inches long with red fins and golden eyes. She put it into a bowl of water. It grew bigger every day, and after she had changed the bowl several times, she could find no bowl big enough for it, so she threw it into the back pond. Whenever she went to the pond, the huge fish would rise to the surface and pillow its head on the bank.
Oh.
In the Scottish story, Rash and Coty, there is a miraculous cow.
She didn't get anything to eat but what the rest left. But she didn't care, for she went to her wee red calf and it gave her everything she asked for.
In the Cat Cinderella, there is a magical tree.
Within 4 days, the date tree grew to the size of a woman, and a fairy came out who said to the girl,
"What do you want?"
The magic fish, cow, mother, tree attracts the jealousy of the stepmother.
Suddenly, there appeared a man with his hair loose over his shoulders and coarse clothes. He came down from the sky. Your stepmother has killed the fish, and its bones are under the dam. You go back, take the fish's bones, and hide them in your room. Whatever you want, you have only to pray to them. It is bound to be granted.
The buried bones of the murdered animal provide Cinderella with all she needs. In the Armenian story, it becomes crystal clear that the true source of the magic is the spirit of Cinderella's dead mother. Just before she dies, Cinderella's mother warns her,
"Let them eat as much as they want, but don't you eat. After they are finished, take my bones and bury them behind the house. Whenever you need anything, just come to my grave and ask for it, and it shall be yours."
So the fairy godmother we know from the pantomime and Perrault's Cinderella is a last trace of that powerful magic that once upon a time we all believed in.
In all the stories around the world, there is a moment when the hero changes from rags and tatters to gorgeous splendor. In the African story, a frog provides the clothes.
Next, he vomited cloths for her, and bangles, and rings, and a pair of shoes, one of silver, one of gold. "And now," said he, "off you go to the dancing."
Ashen Puttel went to her mother's grave beneath the hazel tree and cried,
"Shiver and quiver, little tree, silver and gold throw down over me."
cap of rushes needs no magic. All she has to do is take off her cape of rushes. The change is so great that in most stories, nobody recognises Cinderella. She is seen but not seen. The outcast in rags and tatters is transformed. Tall as a cypress, with a face like a rose, and the silks and jewels of a king's bride, she seemed to fill the room with light.
What's that?
Midnight.
Wait, I don't know your name!
In many versions, Cinderella's visit to the ball or the church happens 3 times. 2 nights running, Cinderella just manages to get back before her sisters.
I know. It's ridiculous. Thing round her head that she...
Next morning, they said to her,
You did miss a sight last night, Caparushes.
You did?
What was that? Why, the prettiest young lady you ever saw.
Ever?
The young master never took his eyes off her.
Never?
She was so pretty with
Gorgeous.
the thing
No, lucky thing.
But on the 3rd night, her luck runs out. The king's son caused the whole staircase to be smeared with pitch, and the maiden's left slipper remained stuck there when she ran down.
Her stepsister recognised her and said to the stepmother, "That's very like my sister." The girl was aware of this and went away in such a hurry that she lost one shoe.
And by fate and divine decree, it happened that as she ran over the bridge, one of her golden clogs fell off her foot and into the river below. The clock striking midnight is, of course, another of Monsieur Perrault's bright ideas.
She quite forgot what her godmother had told her to do. She thought it was no later than 11 when she counted the clock striking 12.
Twirling, swirling, Cindy Ellen lost track of time until all at once she heard the clock began to strike 12. She hightailed it out of there lickety-split.
Right. There's nothing else for it. One of you has to lose some toes.
So now we're ready for the big question. Will the slipper fit?
The slipper was brought to the 2 sisters, who did all they possibly could to force their foot into the slipper, but they did not succeed.
Perrault, as always, thinks of his courtly audience. In his version, the sisters merely try to squeeze their feet into the tiny glass slipper.
The older sister had crushed her feet into little bitty boots, so just for an instant, the spur almost fitted. But then her boot split open and her toes popped out like puppies from a basket.
In Rashin Koti and other stories, things get nastier. Prompted by the stepmother, the sisters hack at their feet to make the slipper fit.
The hen wife took in her daughter and cut her heels and her toes. And the slipper was forced on her.
Then her mother gave her a knife and said,
Cut the toe off. When you are queen, you'll have no more need to go on foot.
The maiden cut the toe off, forced the foot into the shoe, swallowed the pain, and went out to the king's son.
In Aschenputtel, just as it seems that the wrong sister has got away with it, 2 pigeons sing out to warn him.
Ooh, ooh, turn and peep, There's blood within the shoe. The shoe, it is too small for her. The true bride waits for you. Ooh.
So how does it all end up? Well, in most stories, Prince Charming and Cinderella ride off into the sunset. But what happens to the wicked stepmother and the stepsisters? In Perrault's story, Cinderella is unbelievably generous to the family that have been so horrible to her.
They threw themselves at her feet to beg pardon for all the ill treatment they had made her undergo. Cinderella took them up, and as she embraced them, said that she forgave them with all her heart and wanted them always to love her.
What a saint!
How humble she is.
In other stories, the sisters get a more savage punishment.
When the betrothed couple went to church, the elder was at the right side and the younger at the left, and the pigeons pecked out one eye from each of them. And thus for their wickedness and falsehood, they were punished with blindness all their days.
In Cap of Rushes, the foolish father is invited to the wedding and served a dish of meat without salt to remind him of the misery he has caused. Capo-Rushes' father tried first one dish and then another, and at last he burst out crying.
What's the matter?
Asked the master's son.
Once I had a dear daughter. I said to her, "How much do you love me?" She said, "As much as meat loves salt." Now I see she loved me best of all.
The story of Cinderella has been told around the world for at least 1,000 years, and we're still listening to it, reading it, watching it.
Then you shall have no present.
It's become one of the world's great stories because it has all the right ingredients. A great plot, a hero who we identify with, some terrifying twists and turns, but also because it is about us.
In the fate of Cinderella, we see our own lives. We admire her virtue and strength under pressure. We hope that we might share her good fortune and that justice will be done.
And we pray that if we do the right thing, however tough life may be, we will get our reward in the final frame.
And so they were all happy ever after.
Yes! The end.